Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan and also the Capitalize Your Best podcast. We continue to post concurrently, and I think I'm about a week away from announcing what we're going to do with both podcasts. Any of you have been regular listeners for the last couple of months, both podcasts have been running concurrently as I determine the direction of each one. And I think what's going to happen, the sneak peek I'm going to give you is that This Is Going to Hurt. It's going to continue publishing on Mondays. And and then this is going to, Capitalize Your Best is going to break off, and that will be publishing on Wednesday. So soon it's going to be two separate episodes, two separate shows. But at the moment, we're running them side by side. And I appreciate you hanging in there as we figure out the direction. This is sort of an outcome or an outworking of Spotify messing around with the episodes and temporarily shutting down This Is Going to Hurt, and me needing to revive Capitalize Your Best. And I think in the long run, it's actually going to be a gift. But they're going to be two separate shows with two different emphases. So that's coming up really soon. Thank you, everyone who tuned in last week. Last week, I shared a lost episode where I talked about ways to get unstuck creatively. So thank you so much, everyone who tuned into that. I appreciate it. I got some feedback from you. I think people enjoyed it. That episode actually published for the very first time on TikTok. TikTok will go up to 10 minutes, and that episode came in right around 9:58. So that was on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and for the first time in TikTok. So I'm not designing these necessarily to be 10 minutes and under. It really comes down to whether the content fits that range or not. But we'll see what happens with it. That could very well be what happens with the Capitalize Your Best podcast. But today, I want to continue a thought that I've been having recently. I shared 2 or 3 weeks ago takeaways from meeting with one of my millionaire mentors. I had a brief conversation, a 20-minute conversation that was really, really helpful with one of my mentors, and asked him 3 questions. Check out that episode. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago. I shared with him a couple of my concerns, and I asked him about my offer. Did I have the right offer? Was I targeting the right community? And finally, what was my community reputation? And he was great. He gave me some feedback on it, and I think it was really helpful. Well, I have a day-to-day mentor, someone I speak to on a weekly basis, really whenever he needs, whenever I need, or whenever he feels like we need to get together. And on Saturday morning, the rare Saturday morning, he said, let's get together. So we met downtown at Anita's Cafe, which is my favorite little coffee shop here in town. And we met, and I wanted to share 3 takeaways. Now, like I said, I'm fortunate. I have 2 millionaire mentors in my life. One who just knows everything, and then another who is very trusted, but I don't get to talk to as much. I'm very thankful to have them in my life. And whenever I get together with them, I want to share with you guys the wisdom that they give to me. So, a couple of things, couple of takeaways from this morning. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Is really, um, 2 of them were advice to me. No, I take that back. One of them was advice to me, and 2, the takeaways was really the way they interacted with me. So let me just share them with. So number 1, the first takeaway was my mentor was amazingly efficient with his time. Now, I have been fortunate enough several times to just kind of hang out with him and his wife in a casual setting, go out to eat with them, and just do casual things with them. But when we get together, he is amazingly efficient with his time. So he showed up on time and he left after 30 minutes. And it wasn't like I felt rushed by him. And it wasn't like I felt like he wasn't giving me all this attention. He did. But I've noticed this about him is that he is efficient with his time. If it's a hangout time, then that's what it is. But if it's to accomplish a task, he's very specific. And so he came in, got there on time, 30 minutes later, and said, hey, I think this has been great. And he left. And that's fine. And it's a reminder to me. I have people I enjoy just hanging out with no time frame. But when it comes to a purposeful meeting, those purposeful meetings should have time frames, and they should be kept to. And quite often, it doesn't take as long as we think it does to accomplish a conversation. You don't have to get together and do the chit chat and all that stuff. Like, hey, how you doing? That kind of thing. You can sit down and like, hey, great. Let's talk about this. And you can just hop into business. And if you're dealing with serious minded people, then they handle it well. And I value my mentor's time. He values mine. And it was also on a Saturday. Like I said, I didn't feel rushed. I didn't feel like he was not giving me his attention. He gave me 100% attention, but at 30 minutes, it was exact. He was like, this has been great. We'll catch up and talk later. Let me know how it goes. And so what I can, and I mentioned last time in a conversation with my other mentor that I think our conversation was 18 minutes long, but it was full of wisdom. So again, hangout time is hangout time. Great. Otherwise, let's get our business done. And it doesn't have to be 30, it doesn't have to be an hour, it doesn't have to be 15. But quite often, I think we just kind of lose time. Like we allow time to just come and go. And in this present season, I have tried to be much more about maximizing my time. I have tripled my social media. I have tripled my efforts, and I'm trying to be more strategic. And it's a real lesson. Again, people I get to hang out time with them. But if it's a meeting, what's the time frame on that meeting? Don't go into meetings without knowing when you got to go. And I think that was really, really one. I felt like we delivered a punch, like we got a lot done in that time frame. But I'm watching him, and I'm like, what does he do that's different? And I just think he's way more efficient and strategic with his time. So takeaway number one, that was the way he was to me. I think it's more important for me to be that way as well. I just think there's a tendency sometimes just let time go, go, and go. And if you're dealing with serious-minded people, there's nothing wrong with that. If they're like, "What? You're not hanging out? Like, this is not hangout time." Or if it's hangout time, enjoy it. Friday night, went out with some friends. We went out at 4:30 and stayed out until 9:30 or so. It was wonderful. We had a great time with it. It was casual, it was relaxed. There was no rush. The time was meant for that. But if it's business and you're doing your work, then what's the time frame on that? And if it's business, it should have a time frame. It shouldn't just be this open-ended mushy time. Number two, he was affirming to me in the things that I was struggling with, but he wouldn't let me rest or sit in or dwell on it. Let me say that again. He was affirming to me in the areas where I'm discouraged, but he wouldn't let me just sit and dwell on it. And so I shared with him some struggles across all words of life, personally and professionally. And he was affirming, like he showed me where I was doing well, and he gave me words of encouragement, but he didn't let me just sit there. There was nothing else to do. I'm an adult. He doesn't have to let me just be like, if it was a serious thing, like, dude, I need to be in this remote. So I would have said it. I'm like, I need to talk about this a lot. But really, the things I shared with him, he affirmed me and like, hey, you're doing okay. You're doing here. This is the season. This is probably what this season is going to look like when it ends. But he wouldn't let me dwell on it. And again, we've got to know when the times are for that and who the people are for that. If I had needed that, if I said, dude, I need an hour and all I want to do is tell you about this thing I'm frustrated with and I need your wisdom, that's what we would have done. But in this efficient time, he affirmed what I was doing, but he wouldn't let me dwell on it. And I know that when I'm sad sacking, I'm looking to just dwell on it. And that's not always the wisest or the healthiest approach. So he was affirming, but he wouldn't let me dwell on it. Three, this is the key difference, and this is good for me, and it's characteristic of him. He was thinking long term, minimum 90 days and 10 years. Like that's where his brain is going. There are immediate things that need to happen in my company, immediate pieces of advice he gave me, but he was suggesting to me changes that could have an impact in 90 days or 10 years. So, for example, when I met with him last time, we talked about reigniting some old email lists and some Facebook groups and contacts. And I know that's going to take 90 days getting churn on it. So I told him where I was in that. And then he was encouraging me in that, notice some of the changes that I had made, and that was good. And then, but he was thinking, hey, you need to go in this, you need to look at this target audience and think about how you can get in there. That's not going to happen in 90 days, but that's a 10-year long range plan. So I said, hey, in the big picture, this is where I want Capitalize to go. I still believe I'm on the path to this, but I think you're right. I think it could go into this field. And that would be like a 10-year plan. That would be like, hey, I'm selling the company in 10 years because I've built this kind of thing. And he's thinking long range. Most of the time, we can't make a singular change to change something in 24 hours. If you can, you're the person to know that. You're the one most intimate in your business. But he was thinking way more long range, 90-day change, 10-year change. And I just think that long view of things that he has impacts his day to day. We get so focused on right now, we're not seeing anything long, the big view. And I think that long view of things is the best way to look at your day to day. So he's a long range thinker, 90 days to 10 years. So those were the three things taken away from my mentor. He's very efficient with his time. It's reminding me to be efficient with my time. People you want to hang out with, hang out with. But if it's work, be efficient with that time. He was affirming to the areas I was frustrated with, but he wouldn't let me dwell there. He wouldn't let me sad sack at all. I don't think I was leaning towards that, but not with him anyway. And then three, he was a long range thinker. It was 90 days to 10 years kind of things. And he's got me a lot to think of. I came home, talked to Amy, started putting some thinking to it. So I hope this is helpful to you. I'm going to share these whenever I get time with my millionaire mentors. I want you to know what wisdom they're giving me. I'm hoping it's helpful to you. And as always, friends, I appreciate you tuning in. And look for an announcement soon for the splitting of This Is Gonna Hurt and the Capitalize Your Best podcast. Can't wait to see what you do. Please give me your feedback. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, friends.